Bella, the Maker Mama boss lady behind Fiber and Fox, and this is episode 48 of my podcast. It's been sporadic, I'm sorry, but I am still here, and if you... I'll just catch you up real quick in the beginning here. If you missed it over on Instagram or in my newsletter, I am rather pregnant. So stuff has been sporadic. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But episode 48, everything that you need to know about me is linked below the video, blog, Instagram, newsletter, all that good stuff, shops. Find those links below, and then there's also going to be a link to a blog post with show notes for anything that I may mention as far as patterns, yarns, and whatnot. Anything that I can link, I try to link it for you. So let's get back into podcasting, because it's been almost a month since I recorded a regular podcast. Whoops. Admin-wise, I am very congested. Seasonal allergies are in full swing. So pardon the snuffling. And I am also, let's see, when you're seeing this, I'll be about between 15 and 16 weeks pregnant. So yes, pregnant. There was a long hiatus where I didn't feel like making anything or doing anything and was really just not feeling my best at all. But we seem to be coming out of that now, and I'm much more functional and only slightly gaggy. So I'm very grateful, very excited, and we're going to be finding out the gender of the baby this weekend. So feel free to leave guesses down below. I'm probably not going to announce it right away because I probably will knit or crochet something for announcement, at least in this YouTube Instagram-sphere. That's a word. But yes, I will be announcing it at some point. We're gonna keep most details hush-hush, but we'll let you know what the gender is, because I'm excited to make stuff like that is a I know some people like the surprise of finding out like when the baby is born, but like birthing a baby is enough surprise for me. I have control issues. I want to know if it's a girl or a boy so I can prepare mentally and physically as far as things I need to make. Like, I don't want a bunch of gray cardigans. I want to make cute and colorful things. So we are going to be found out with my daughter, and yeah, very excited about that. So drop your guesses down below because I'm interested to see. I'm really not sure. So we shall see. And then the only other thing is it's officially spring now, and I had intended... we'll say pregnant brain or just Bella brain, I don't know. I had intended to do a spring pattern sale last weekend on like the first weekend of spring, but I didn't do that, so I'm going to do it now. I will drop the details on the screen below, but I'm going to be doing a little spring sale of, I think, all my patterns. I was going to just do the springy patterns, but that seems like more work than doing all the patterns. So details will be on the screen as far as dates and codes, but you can use whatever code that I put down there. I usually only run sales on Ravelry, but if that's a accessibility issue for you, I do have patterns on Etsy as well, and you can contact me and we'll sort it out. But yeah, shop a little bit of Fiber and Fox pattern goodness, and that segues well into, this is not a new design, but this is my Serenity and Shiloh shawl, and it is ever so light and springy. It's a fingering weight, but it's a very open, I can still see you, a very open and drapey, and probably toss it between this and my Forgotten Lore as far as go-to spring wear. But really nice and light, and the construction is going to be similar to a shawl that I have, so I'm going to talk about later. So I wanted to put this on, and yeah, this part is like a local, I think it's, I don't remember if it's straight alpaca, but like it's a natural color from like a local alpaca farm, and it's amazing. It's so soft. So soft. So, Serenity and Shiloh shawl, if you're interested. Let's get into the rest of the content, because I actually have whips and finished objects this time. So last time we chatted, I was talking to, I think I had started just the granny square bit of not a design, but a self-drafted Easter/spring outfit for my daughter. And I hadn't crocheted like basically all of January and February. I had done a tiny bit of sock knitting, but basically I did nothing January and February because I was just not physically up to anything other than getting through each day. But very grateful that we are back to making. So let's see. I always feel weird when I like jump like this. Like I show you like the yarn and then I'm like, yeah, the project's done, because you missed the in between. So I'm going to try to give you the best rundown of this as I can, because I am basically done with it, and it came out absolutely fabulous. I will have to take some pictures of it on her come Easter and whatnot, but Yeah, it's adorable. So I had based this off of a top that I had made, again, without a pattern. And this is not going to be a design. This is not going to be a pattern. This was just like a reset for me, just to get back to the love of crocheting to crochet and creating for the sake of creating. So no pattern, sorry. And I can't even really point you to something that's similar because I don't even know what kind of construction this is called. But so I started with a granny square. And then from there, I added this haltery bit on the top and did some, actually no, I did a granny square, but then I did some decreases and started working along just the top side of the square. So it kind of has this shape, trapezoidy looking thing. So it's not straight square up to the neckline. So I tapered it a little bit to the neckline, did the halter bit. Then I joined the square in the back on the bottom, and I chained whatever number I chained and then like slip stitched into the opposite side, crocheted back, slip stitched in. So just half double crochets on the back, and I just kept, joining it to either side as I went so I wouldn't have to seam it. And then I created these straps off the back of this haltery bit, because it makes it a lot more comfortable, and I'm going to talk about this yarn in a second, but in general, I think a halter on a kid is a lot to ask. I personally don't love a halter. It just feels choky. And I don't know if that's the same on a kid or not, but I like the straps. So add the straps down the back, attached to the neck. It's got a little button instead of a tie because I figured that it worked well last time. So that's what I did again. And then the only thing I'm not 100% sold on, which is why there's still ends all coming everywhere. The last time I made a top like this for my daughter, I made it very tight. So there was no gapping in the like armpit area, but this one I made a little larger, so hopefully she can wear it longer and just so it's not as tight. But this part here did kind of sag out in an almost pocket-like manner in the front, which is, not desirable on anyone. So I added this second set of straps that run from the like armpit area up to the neck. And I had a hard time placing them because it was a little, like I didn't want it sawing into her armpit and being uncomfortable. But I also I don't know. I couldn't quite figure out how to make it work. I think last time I did some different shaping and I had like sewn in the corners, but it was a lot tighter, so there was no gapping. But this has some room to grow, so there was some gapping there. I have no idea what I did as far as stitch count. We'll talk about the yarn in a minute. But yeah, it fits really cute. It's really not doing it justice here. I had thought about lining it. Sewing, I was going to sew just like I have some vintage hankies. I was going to sew one on the inside. Oh, there's already a little snag. This is going to be a very snaggy yarn. Like, probably not the best choice for an active toddler, but we'll make it work. Yeah, it's actually, like you can see my hand through it, but they're not big holes. And we had it on her, and I asked my husband, like, do you think I should line it? And like, it's really, I think it's still appropriate, but I could line it. And I also haven't blocked it because I'm afraid to. It fits now, but I didn't swatch for this. I didn't swatch, didn't block anything. And this is a plant fiber yarn, and I know it's going to grow over time. So my concern is that it's either going to grow with washing or that I would line it, but then that the yarn part would grow and then the liner part wouldn't, obviously, because it's fabric. So I didn't want to like line it and then have it ballooning out weird. I don't know if this is making any sense, but this was my thought process on this. So if anybody has any suggestions, I think it's okay as is, but any thoughts at all on this, feel free, throw them at me. Or if you know what sort of construction this halter with straps with a low back is called, it's adorable on a toddler. I don't know if I'd rock it myself because I tend to like a good thick shoulder strap because I don't like any fancy frilly nonsense undergarment goings on, but it's really cute on toddler. So this is the top. And initially I had thought that I would do a dress, but then I realized how heavy this yarn was, and I was worried it would just, like, you know, if you hang something on a hanger and it kind of grows in your closet, which don't hang your handmade sweaters, I was worried that as she was wearing it, it would be growing because it is very weighty. So I decided to go with a skirt and a top instead. And the skirt weighs like 400 pounds, I think. Not really. I should chuck it on a scale. I can't really do it right now, but it's heavy. But I put an elastic waistband on and it actually fits beautifully. But again, I haven't blocked it. And I don't know if it's going to grow on its own. I'm going to eventually have to wash it, presumably. I'm not going to just sponge bathe this outfit. And I was initially concerned about this color, which is kind of actually similar to, that's a brighter orange. But I was really worried about it washing her out, which I actually was with this color scheme as well. But it's super cute. Super cute on her. She pulls it off. But I did the skirt in two-tone. So this is the top, and then the skirt has both colors. And I made the skirt, in my mind, I was like looking at my Forgotten Lore shawl, which is the one that's like dragon wing shaped, or like bat wing. And it has the puff stitch detail, like so, running down like the ridges of each wing point. I never know what to call it, ridge. So I wanted something like that, and I wanted the skirt to be super twirly, and when laid out flat, it would be, I was inspired by like a star blanket that I had crocheted her as a baby. So I was trying to figure out how to take the star blanket like chevron construction, but make it into a skirt without, you know, making a blanket and cutting a hole in the top. So I started like, none of this is going to be making any sense for anyone. Okay, so I started up here without the waistband. I started, I don't know, it looks like I had like 16 stitches or something in between each puff stitch ridge. Can we see any of this? So then there is increases on either side of the puff stitch, and then a decrease like here in the valley, which gives you this beautiful point situation. So it's basically working a chevron like a blanket, but in the round. So I did some math, and there's definitely some parts where I fudged it. Like I got around and my math wasn't quite right, so I decreased a few stitches. It's fine. It's, again, not a pattern. Like this part here is a little bubbly because there's too many stitches there, but the top of the shirt covers it. It's cool. I don't think I can show you the full glory of this star shape. How is this not the cover image? I may have to retake my photo. I usually take the photo at the beginning, but that's too much. Okay. I can't, guys. This is too funny. All right, so I look like a starfish. But yeah, so it all points out into a star shape. I think I have 8 points, 9 points. I don't even know. I did when I started. But then, yeah, I just kept increasing and making it wider and wider and wider. And it's really heavy. This I do think I am going to block because I want to see the length right now hits her like below the knees, like mid-calf. But if I could take some of the weight off, I may actually block it and take out some of this orange, or this, whatever this was called, peach, I think, part on the bottom, if she doesn't actually need the length, because it's heavy. But it does stay on well, because then what I did is I made a folded brim. I hope this is making sense to someone. I promise I'm normally more like understandable, cohesive, reasonable, but yeah, this is kind of what you're going to get for the next year or so, so deal with it. Thanks for being here. Like and subscribe. So I made a folded ribbed panel, and then I bought, you can't see it because I tacked it in there, but 1.5 inches, I think, 1.25 inch elastic waistband, and then I tacked the ribbing over it on the inside, trapped it in there, so it's got a nice sturdy stretch to it. And it fits her really, really well, and it's super twirly, and the colors are just beautiful, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy with it. It's totally a unnecessary project. Like we have, I think I was talking about in the previous episode, we have no shortage of dresses or spring dresses or beautiful things, but I just really enjoy making for her. And like the only part of me that hopes one way or the other on finding out the gender is that if it's a girl, I get to use all the cute things I made again. But if it's a boy, I'll make him cute things too. So I guess we'll find out. But I do have a lot of cute handmade girl things. Yeah, I really take a lot of joy in making for her. So we have a matching set. And I'm not going to name it or anything because it's just a matching funsy project. This really doesn't do it justice, but I promise I will get some pictures, and I don't know if I'll remember to put them in a podcast, but I will definitely put them on Instagram or something at some point. Yeah, in April when she's actually wearing it. She probably could wear it now. I don't really have to wait for Easter, but I do want to block this and figure out if I'm taking off these ends and then really commit to what I'm doing with these straps in the back. See if anything else comes to me, because yeah, it's just a little funky. But yeah, that's the Easter outfit. So the yarn that I used for that, I probably should have started with it, but we were on a roll. So the yarn, I started out, I had 3 skeins. What is happening here? We have snaggling. This is a stitch marker that's going to get lost, so I should put it away before it does. All right, I had bought in 2020 or something some Nubu, Lion brand Nubu at Joann. I don't think the yarn is discontinued, but I think it's one of those ones that Joann just carried for like a hot minute and then doesn't carry anymore. It's 100% lyocell, which is apparently an eco-friendly, this one, the label's double covered. I can't read it, hang on. A eco-friendly production of lyocell, a fabric made from plants, leads the fiber industry in terms of energy and water conservation. And I meant to look up what exactly lyocell was, but I didn't. But it's very soft, very drapey, kind of has a similar like bamboo type feel, but it has more of a sheen to it, which I don't know if is naturally the lyocell or something done to it. I really don't know much about this yarn at all. But it is approved by, endorsed by Knitted Knockers. So it's very soft, very comfortable on skin. And this is the, the details on it there. So it's a worsted, but I'd say it's probably closer to a DK, but with the, like, not worsted weight, but like the physical weight of a worsted yarn because it's heavy. So I had gotten 3 skeins of it in the color peach on clearance at Joann, thinking that I was going to make a top or something for her. Then started this endeavor and then realized I wouldn't have enough, so then I had to go buy more. So I'd gotten it for like less than $3 on clearance and then ended up ordering more of it. Still on sale, but I think I paid like $5 something for each skein. I used 4 total skeins of the peach, and then the other color, where did it go? It's here. This other color is called salmon, and I used 3 skeins of that. Like in entirety, used it all. Oh, I made where's the bow? I made a hair bow. Oh, I forgot. I made a hair bow that I based on a woodland stitchcraft pattern that I've used for lots of my daughter's hair bows. I believe it's vintage dream bows. So I just made a slightly larger version because those are written for like a lace or like crochet thread yarn. So I just kind of tweaked the numbers in the gauge a little bit. But yeah, made a cute little bow. I still need to put a back of some kind on it so I can put it in her hair. But hey, if you're going to have a matchy crocheted outfit, you need a matchy crochet bow. And we don't have anything else this color. So yeah, we're just going all out on this matchy look. It's probably a little much, but I used literally the last of the salmon just to edge, and I couldn't even make it around the entire thing. I just like the bottom edge of the bow. So all of the salmon, and then I have 2 skeins left of the peach because I ordered them in 3 packs and could have probably just ordered, one more. But I haven't decided if I want to destash this. I think I'm going to wait and see what's what with the baby, because this could make a cute baby cardigan or something as well, or even a baby dress, but we shall see. And then if not, I'll probably destash it because I don't think I can make anything for my daughter with just the 2 skeins, but maybe. But I don't really want to use this color again. So we'll see. It's either going to be something that matches, assuming that this still fits her next year. I don't know. But I have 2 skeins left. So that is the story on the Lion Brand Nubu lyocell. Can't speak for the long-term wear, can't speak for the blocking, but it's definitely drapey, just real heavy. I can't imagine making an adult size garment in this. There was a pattern that I tested. That may have been Trubu, because Lion Brand has a Trubu too, which is bamboo and something, I think. I don't know. These names are silly. But yeah, as if this was like an adult size sweater, it would be incredibly heavy, and a blanket would be incredibly heavy. So I really don't know what the ideal usage of this yarn is, but it's shiny and drapey and pretty, and I like it. Second finished object. Okay, so they're the same color, but they don't match because I made them out of 150 gram skein. These are a blueberry waffle-esque sock. I used the stitch pattern from the blueberry waffle sock, which is by, I want to say Sandy Turner, but I can never remember. And it is a free pattern and it's extremely popular. Highly recommend, fits great. Love the texture, love the way it looks. But I didn't use like the stitch count or row count or literally anything else. Just the stitch waffly pattern. So these were just another scrappy pair of socks. Let's see. This is left over from another pair of socks. This is West Yorkshire Sprinter's Signature 4-ply in the color Cardamom. This main color is Patton's Croy in the color Clover Colors, which I saw at Joann the other day, and it's totally way more rainbow now. So this must be, I don't even think it's an older dye lot. Like, I just feel like they changed the composition of the color and then kept the name. Because I saw it and I was like, ooh, I really like that. But then it was totally the same colorway name, but had so much less green in it. So I don't know, maybe it was just the skeins that were there, but it's a springy, greeny color. And then I ran out because I was working with just a 50 gram. I think it may have actually been like 40 something grams. I was just trying to use up. So I ran out. So I striped some Patton's Croy gray marl gray something with the West Yorkshire Spinners here to just finish out the toe. And then the heel and the toe are the same West Yorkshire Spinners held double, just for a little extra durability, with a cone from a mill end cone from when I went to, I always have to think about it, Green Mountain Spinnery. So it's a mill end, very thin, fine, unspun, or unplied, single ply. It's this. Where are you? I'm not describing you well. But I got it for super cheap. And I have a ton of it. It's very woolly and it's very, very, very lace fine. But it's great to add into socks. So I finished these and I have not worn them yet, but there's hair in my mouth. I'm sorry. There we go. Haven't worn them yet. I like that they sort of kind of only match, and it's definitely Birkenstock season. I have fully embraced the wearing of socks in Birkenstocks. And so I will add this pair into my rotation. And yeah, they make me very happy, and the waffle pattern fits beautifully. And these are all non-superwash, so I like that. So that is my other finished object. But of course, when you finish a pair of socks, you must cast on another immediately. I fell a little bit behind on my sock making. This is only my third pair of the year. I just finished the second pair, third pair, but whatever. It does not matter, and I really don't need more socks, so it's not like a rush or anything. But I cast on another, just doing a vanilla sock pair. Oh, that does look fun on screen. This is some yarn that I had gotten in like a bag at a thrift store of a couple different sock yarns. I have no idea if this is like, it's definitely older. No idea if it is discontinued or if you can get it somewhere else, but the original tag does say AC Moore, which I know is no longer a thing. Yeah, it's a red heart, which I had never seen elsewhere, a red heart and soul sock yarn with aloe, which I don't know what that's about. I can't see the composition of the yarn. And I'm very, here we go, hang on, let me peel this off. So it was originally from AC Moore, but I got it at a thrift store. And it says 70% superwash wool and 30% nylon, so I have no idea where the percentage of aloe is. Where is the aloe? Do they dip it in aloe? It doesn't feel any different, so I don't know if the aloe is really a selling point or if they forgot to include it. But yep, Oh, wow. Okay, so the color name, I thought I had written it because I keep track of the socks that I make for the year. The color name is what I thought said Tequila Sunrise, but it actually says Tequila Sunrise. So it was either supposed to be Surprise or Sunrise. Or a Tequila Sunrise is a thing I don't know about. But Tequila Sunrises seem like a questionable life choice. And Tequila Surprises also maybe questionable. So I don't know. Can't vouch for that, but that's the coloring name. I have no idea about this yarn at all, but I had one 50-gram ball of it. And it is, I would say, comparable to, which again, I don't know if it's discontinued, but the Lion brand Mani Petty, it does have that, or almost even, I think it's a little thinner than Knit Picks Stroll. Is that the sock yarn? It's very thin. It's a thin fingering weight. I think though my gauge has changed over time, particularly if I'm knitting continental. I think I should probably, because I usually knit regular fingering weight yarn on US size 1s. I do the Patons Croy on 1.5s. I think I might need to get a size, I don't think there's a half size, a size 0 to do thinner, because I don't know if you can see. The fabric is just a little looser than I typically, it's not really showing, a little looser than I typically like on a sock. But it seems to be one of those completely very varied striping sequences. I have not found a repeat yet. And also on the skein, or on the ball band, I was very confused because I was like looking at the color, and then there's this little picture of these socks. That's not even the same. Like, can you see that? Unifocus, is that too much? Yeah, that's not even the same color. So I don't doubt that it patterns or stripes somehow, but this one has almost like a, yeah, not the same colors, not the same pattern at all. But I think I paid like $1 for the skein, like in a bag with other yarn, so whatever. But I like the orange and the purple. The blue and the pink I could do without, but I like the, you know, contrasty color situation we got going. I have no idea how these are going to turn out. I tried to split the ball into 25-ish grams balls, and I did remember to wind the second one backwards so that hopefully I end up with 2 similar looking socks, but I couldn't really find the color repeat, so I think, or maybe we're coming up on a, okay, I guess this is the color repeat here, because this purple, blue, orange, it seems to be happening again here. So yeah, I don't know. Probably not my new favorite socks, but I do like the burnt orange. And then the gray is just some Cascade 220, I think, or Cascade something. Cascade Heritage in some gray color that I used for making my mom a cowl. So just again, using up little bits on the socks. I don't usually like a vanilla sock, but I couldn't come up with a pattern that would make sense texture-wise with the random striping. And I pondered holding it again with that gray cone, but I wasn't sure what that would do to the self-striping, and like looking at the ball band, I wasn't sure if there was some pattern. I don't know. So we're just going with it. Vanilla socks, they're going to be a little bit lighter weight, and I'm keeping them in. I know I say I don't sew, but I used to attempt to sew. This was I think even before I picked up crocheting again, this was a high school sewing project. I got into applique, like it's not done great, but it looks cute. Applique shoe bag. It's lined and everything. Lined, straps, interface, all of that. So I did at one point sort of kind of sew things, but yeah, this is definitely a little special. Anyway, my mom found it, I think, in an attic or barn or something. I was like, hey, you still want this? Yep, that's a project bag now. So those are my whips. I do have, this is an acquiring or a whip. It's an accountability whip. Talk to you about it because I keep saying I'm going to make it and I don't, but I'm really truly going to try to swatch for this. I haven't been feeling mathy enough to make it happen, but I have pulled, like, I know there's been many episodes where I point and I'm like, there's a shawl coming. I have pulled those skeins out and I have had them since 2020, June of 2020, which I know because Taylor dates her yarns. But 3 skeins, a fiber for the people. This one is the color Lily Pad. It was a Lucky Strike, which are her one-of-a-kind colorways that she dyes with leftover like dye particles left on spoons and in bowls, and is not into wasting. So this is on her merino cashmere nylon base. One of a kind colorway pewter, which is also a Lucky Strike. This one is 100% superwash, extra fine merino pewter. It's not Love and Taylor's pink pen. And then this one is also a Lucky Strike. I thought this one was a regular, but this is also a Lucky Strike, but I would say it's kind of similar to her color Yucca, but maybe with more light greens in it. This is the color Algae, and it is the only skein of mohair I have ever purchased and have yet to work with, but 70% kid mohair, 30% silk, single ply. This one's lace weight. So my thought is that I'm supposed to be making a shawl similar in construction to this one, so it's going to be worked from one skinny little end out into increases and then decrease down out to a skinny little end. And I want to use the dandelion stitch, which is one of my go-tos in a lot of my patterns. I kind of have a whole like dandelion series going, but it's going to be unusual for me because it's not going to have mustard yellow in it. It's going to be these springy greens. And the mohair might be a little bit heavy, you know, come spring or summer when I release this, but you're kind of on the you get what you get and you don't get upset pattern release plan for this year and maybe beyond, because I don't know what my design life is going to look like come 2 children. I'm very much in a phase like, how does one have 2 children? Like, obviously so many people have multiple children. I guess it's not an undoable thing, but like right now I can't wrap my mind around how one does that. So the mama-ing will come first. So anyway, hoping this year before this baby I create this shawl. But I just think that color Algae is so beautiful. And I'm definitely skeptical of mohair because of the fuzzies in your mouth factor. And it doesn't feel itchy to me, but we'll see once I get it. So these 2 colors are going to be striped, and then this is going to be like that. I have it all planned out. I just need to actually do the math and swatch for it. But it should be pretty straightforward from there, I say, as it probably won't be. But I just wanted to accountability. I took pictures of these today so I can finally cake them up. I'm afraid to cake the mohair, but I think it'll be okay. So this is happening. And if anybody, I'm going to need suggestions because all of my dandelion patterns, I have dandelion dance, dandelion dreams, dandelion drops. Gonna need dandelion something else with a D, I think, because it would just ruin it if I put dandelion. Insert non-alliterated word. So other great words that go with dandelion. Hit me up. So those are not acquirings because I've had them for a great amount of time, but they're going to be something now. I do have some acquirings though, so let's talk about those. So I just had to go on a stealth mission into my sleeping child's room to obtain this next thing I wanted to show you, because there's kind of some inspiration behind this acquirings. So for a very long time, I have wanted to design something, I think a shawl, around the color scheme in this book. So the cover is slightly different than the inside of the book, and I don't know if it's like an updated version, because I do really like this color scheme too. This minty green and like orange. But inside the book, this book is called Caps for Sale. Told and illustrated by, I think it's Esfer Slobodkina. I should look up how to properly say that. But this is an older book. I mean, this copy is not older, but the book was originally published in, I want to say the 40s. 1940. Yep. And it's been kind of a classic. It's not even like my favorite story. I just adore the color scheme and the illustrations of this book. So she did the illustrations as well. So if you're not familiar with Caps for Sale, the book is about a peddler who sells caps, and he sells them stacked on his head. And one day he couldn't sell any caps, so he went to take a rest under a tree, and a bunch of monkeys take his hats, and they do silly monkey things. And then everybody sorts it out, and he goes back to selling his caps. It's an odd story, and I cannot for the life of me figure out where this book is supposed to be set, where they have all of these fields and tulips and red roofs and monkeys. But it's darling, absolutely darling. And I have always just loved the color scheme of this book. And I'm trying to find like the best page that shows all the colors, but I have been looking for a good long while for, we'll go with this page. That's probably about right. Good long while for these colors to make. I've pondered doing a knit color work situation, but I don't actually love like yoke sweaters. So I want to do a shawl. I haven't decided how it's going to look or what I'm going to call it, but it's just a long-term goal. I think it's going to be a design. But I just love these colors together, and I'm not usually someone that goes for blue, but the green and the mustard yellow and the orange and the gray is very much my color scheme. So I saw in a D-stash that somebody had some colors that fit within that color scheme situation. And I was really excited actually when I found them, because I was like, wow, this dyer is amazing, and maybe I'll check it out and see if she has some more colors, and discovered that they are no longer dyeing. But it's got it in D-stash, but originally dyed by Round Table Yarns. She included the original bag and this pin, which, well, I just threw the pin on the floor, but I thought it was really nice that it was included. So I got 2 skeins of this orange, which I probably won't need 2 skeins, but it was sold as a lot. Oh, look at that. It's definitely a brighter orange than I go for usually, but I thought, let me get my picture back. I thought it fit pretty well. I don't know how to, yeah, see? Pretty nice. And it's these beautiful tonal oranges, like almost solid, but not quite. And I really like this dye style. So it's by Round Table Yarns, and it's on the Merlin base and the color Bedivere. Like I said, I went looking to see if I could find the other colors, because I just really like this dye style where it's almost solid but not quite. I went looking to see if there were other colors that I could incorporate, but I think as of sometime last year there was a notice like we're not dyeing anymore. So I also got this color by also Round Table Yarns, and I don't. It's something I was looking at her shop, which is empty, but she still had info up. Like she was a medieval literature professor or something, has a degree in something about medieval literature and Arthurian literature, so everything is, you know, Round Table and King Arthur based. But again, on the Merlin base and the color Orkney. I'm not up to date on my Arthurian stuff, but look at how nice those are together. Totally not colors I would normally gravitate towards. Like we did use, this was actually almost a color from our wedding, slightly darker I would say, but all the bridesmaids had like tangerine dresses and my husband had Air Force blues on, so kind of had a blue and orange thing, but not this shade. But look at, how am I going? This is ridiculous. Look at how nicely they match. I look crazy. Can you see this? I don't even know. So I was really excited about the caps for sale. And in the same D-stash, she also had a mustard yellow skein of La Bien-Aimée, but it didn't have the same, like, tonally. But I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but it's not all like one solid color. She had a mustard yellow skein that probably could have worked, but I hesitated, and then somebody scooped it up because La Bien-Aimée. But, so I have these two. I need to get probably a mustard, probably a charcoal gray. I don't think I'm going to do white. Mustard, charcoal gray, and then like almost, I was tempted, where'd you go? Come back. I was tempted to scrap the Fiber for the People and put it in here because it's really actually quite the right shade. There we go. Quite the right shade of green there. But again, it's this very almost solid, and these are not, but I think it would have worked. But this has been assigned to that design, and they're all Lucky Strikes, so it would be, I mean, I guess no one's gonna be able to find this yarn either, so it doesn't really matter what I use. And then my second plan, option, this is all in a bundle, but this I think is either Eden or Olive Branch by Lane and Lotus, who is also, she's not totally done dyeing, I don't think, but she's on a serious break and is just like dyeing as it gives her joy at this point, so I don't even know if I could get Jen's Eden or Olive Branch, but those would be like a great match for that green. Mustard yellow, I'm sure I could come by, but if anybody has any suggestions for somebody that dyes skeins like this, fingering weight, these are super washed, 75-25 if that helps you. Again, with just that like variation in the color, but almost solid. I would love to keep with that theme. And then a gray. So green, a mustard, and a gray. Ferny green, mustard yellow, charcoaly gray. And I don't think I'll do the black or the white, but maybe. I don't know. I just love it. So caps for sale. Recommend it as a book. Recommend it as a color scheme. It's just delightful. So that, I have no idea when that's happening. And these are going to look really out of place in that mostly gray and purple shelf. But they're going to go hang out back there until I can find the skeins that go with them and then figure out. I think it would be really cool to do a shawl with like a leafy border on it because of the leaves in the trees. But yeah, it's not going to be like a monkey shawl or anything. So it's just going to be very reminiscent of the color scheme, but not like actually look like, you know, a guy with hats on his head. But that's a lot of rambling. This is a longer episode. I'm sorry. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. But those are my thoughts for right now. I hope some of that made sense. And I feel like I did a lot of weird hand gesturing, a lot of just rambling, but thank you for being here for it. I really appreciate you guys, and I will catch you in episode 49. We're almost up to 50 episodes, so that's a big deal. Thank you. I'm hoping to do more regular episodes, but we'll see. So I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.